Hello and welcome, Pioneer fans, to another installment of the SHU Sports Report. I'm Gino Ganello.
And I'm Adam Chambers.
Adam, we had a lot of solid Pioneer victories this past weekend. Why don't you get us started off on the ice?
All right, the men's ice hockey team looked for their first conference win of the season as they hosted Canisius for a 2-game home series at the Webster Bank Arena. Sacred Heart kicked off the 2-game series on Friday as the first game started off in favor of Canisius. The Golden Griffins were up 2-1 on the Pios in the second, with the lone Pioneer goal coming from sophomore Zach Sekos. Sacred Heart would then go on to score 5 unanswered goals, leading the Pioneers to a 6-2 victory and their first conference win of the season. Those 5 unanswered goals were by 5 different players: Mel Maconian, Mark Johnstone, Jason Cotton, Alex Bates, and Vito Bavaro. Junior Brett Mangus also had quite the game, making 28 saves in goal for the Pioneers. The second game of the series didn't go quite as smooth for the Pioneers, as they lost at home after a comeback attempt fell short to Canisius. The Pioneers were down 2-0 in the third when sophomore Ruslan Rakhmatov scored a power play goal to make it 2-1. The Golden Griffins would then answer back, making it 3-1. Redshirt sophomore Jason Cotton scored with a little over 3 minutes left in regulation to make it 3-2. The Pioneers drew a pivotal penalty with 2:13 left to play, but couldn't capitalize on the man advantage, leaving the score 3-2. The men's ice hockey team is now 3-6 on the season as they play American International College next Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 2 p.m. From one team here home to another on the road, women's volleyball looked to keep the playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. The women's volleyball team had a 2-game road trip this past weekend, looking to punch their ticket into the 2017 NEC Championship Tournament. On Friday, the women's volleyball team started their 2-game weekend road trip as they traveled north to Central Connecticut State University. The match got off to a rough start as the Pioneers fell in 2 straight sets and looked all but finished after a late flurry of points from CCSU in the second set led to a commanding lead for the Blue Devils. But the Pioneers would muster up all the pride they had in this one to fight back, fighting off more late rallies from their opponents to take sets 3 and 4, 25-22 and 25-21 respectively. Unfortunately, the Pioneers did not have enough left in the tank going into the 5th set and eventually lost the game 15-10 and the match 3-2. Despite the loss, Michaela Dole and Lisa Nellis led all hitters with 21 and 19 kills respectively. Looking to pick themselves back up and fight their way back to 500 in conference play, the Pioneers then traveled to Bryant University on Saturday. This one went much differently to start off as the Pioneers were the ones jumping out to a 2-0 lead, squeaking out a win in set 1, 27-25, and dominating set 2, 25-12. But once again, inexperience would become a key factor in this one as the young Pioneers team would get ahead of themselves with their 2-0 lead and eventually fall to Bryant 3-2 after losing 3 straight sets to the Bulldogs. Nonetheless, freshman Maddie Pope led the team in digs with 18, while fifth-year setter Kiki Robinson led all players with 41 assists. The Pioneers will now travel to Brooklyn in hopes of ending their season on a high note as they take on LIU Brooklyn and St. Francis Brooklyn this weekend.
After the break, we'll have more Sacred Heart sports action with Sean Hamilton in this week's Update Corner.
We're back and ready to get you caught up on this week's Update Corner. We'll get things started with men's tennis as they wrap up their fall slate over the weekend with an exciting finish at the Connecticut State Invitational hosted by Yale. Sophomore Seiji Hokusawa and senior Corey Seltman had a terrific outing in singles and doubles. As a team, they took the #1 spot in doubles B play, walking away with a win in all 4 matchups. In singles, Hokusawa took 5th place in B-draw singles, while Seltman took 4th in 4A singles. The men's tennis team finished out their fall slate in style and looked to continue that success in the spring slate when they opened the 2018 season against crosstown rival Fairfield on February 9th. The Sacred Heart women's rowing team hit the road to Chattanooga as they competed in the Head of Hooch Regatta. Senior Sarah Poirier's time of 22:26 earned her the Women's College and Club Lightweight 1X title. Congratulations, Sarah, on your accomplishment. The rowing team then traveled to New Rochelle as they contended in the Fall Metropolitan Championship. They finished second in both the Novice 8A and 8B races. The Pioneers will resume their season in April when they host Iona. Next up is the women's equestrian team. The Pioneers Hunt Seat team traveled to Trinity on Sunday as they placed first with 39 points, followed by Wesleyan with 33 and Trinity with 32. Seniors Devin Conley and Olivia Marlowe finished first and third respectively in the open fences 8A. Sophomore Gabriella Sorrentino placed first in the intermediate 6B fences, and senior Cecilia Mathin finished first in the novice flat 3C. The next event for the equestrian Hunt Seat team is at UConn on Saturday, November 18. Women's ice hockey had a home-and-home series versus the Eagles of Post University. On Friday, the Pioneers crushed the Eagles on home ice with an 8-2 victory as they scored 3 goals in the first period, with 2 of those coming only 1 minute and 19 seconds into the game. Junior Lily Cleary and sophomore Jane Lewis each scored a goal within the first 2 minutes, while senior co-captain Taylor Moreland had a power play goal in the first period. During the second and third periods, the team added 5 more goals, courtesy of senior Megan Kabaka, sophomore Olivia Bryan, junior Haley Payne, Lewis again, and senior Brittany Smith. On Saturday, the Pioneers traveled to Shelton and continued their winning ways against Post in a 5-0 shutout victory. The Pioneers scored 3 goals by Lewis, Kabaka, and freshman Marissa Latezzo to put the Pioneers ahead after the first period. Moreland and junior Katie Stuve also had goals for the Pioneers in the second and third period, respectively. Junior Sarah Urban earned the shutout by making 11 saves on goal. The Pioneers are back in action as they travel to Holy Cross for a 2-game series this Saturday and Sunday to extend their 4-game winning streak. Moving on to fencing, a Sacred Heart team that just started their 2017-18 season off as the men's team competed in the Big One Invitational at Smith College in Northampton. The men's team had 7 finishers in the top 20 in the Epi, Foil, and Sabre events. Leading the way was junior Dante Centeno, entering the tournament as an 11th seed in the Epi event. Centeno earned the gold by defeating his MIT opponent in a victorious 15-12 upset. In addition, the Sacred Heart women's fencing team also contended in the Big One Invitational at Smith College. Led by senior Bailey Partridge, the Pioneers had 6 finishers in the top 20 in the 3 events. Entering the tournament as a 14th seed in the foil event, Partridge was triumphant against her 2 Boston College opponents, who were seeded 2nd and 6th, respectively. With her amazing performance, Bailey Partridge brought home the silver medal. Both teams are back in action when they head to Poughkeepsie to compete at the Vassar Invitational on Sunday, November 12th. That's all we have for this week's Update Corner. I'm Sean Hamilton. Now we have a special Coaches Corner for you this week as we preview both men's and women's basketball seasons with our very own Allison Gaskins. Allison?
Thanks, Sean. It's a special basketball edition of the Coaches Corner as we start off the season previews for both teams, beginning with the men's head basketball coach, Anthony Latina. Coach, thanks for coming down to our studios today.
It's my pleasure being here.
And the season is here already. You're returning 4 starters from last year, including NEC all-team selection, Joseph Lopez. What kind of experience does that bring to your team in a conference that seems to constantly be changing?
Well, we're excited about the fact that we're a veteran team for the first time since I've been the head coach. And so our guys have seen a lot of things, played in a lot of big games. But also with that experience, I think we have great leadership, something that I think we have lacked a little bit in the last few years. So we have not only older players, experienced players, but great leaders. So we're really excited about that. When you have experience, you have leadership, and you face adversity during the year, you have a chance to kind of absorb that and handle that a lot better, and that's what we hope will happen.
You have that experience, but you also have some new faces. So of those newcomers, who do you expect to come out and make an impact on the court?
Well, it's interesting. Not only do we have newcomers, but we have some returning players whose roles are going to be much expanded. So obviously the newcomers, we had Kenan LaRose, who sat out for us last year, from Siena College, very good player, shooter. EJ Anasicki is a freshman who will probably see major minutes as a freshman. Really hard worker, high character kid. But we also, like I said, have some returning players, guys like Sean Hone, who averaged 7 or 8 points a game, who we're hoping will take that next step to the all-league caliber type player, or a Zach Ratz who played limited minutes, who we think will have a major role. So although we have experience, we are going to count on some unknowns, some guys that have never played for us, or some guys that we're expecting much more for. So that makes our job exciting, but also makes you a little nervous at times as well. So, but like I said, we're working very hard. We have great leadership, and we're super excited for our opening game against Holy Cross.
And that hard work has enabled you guys to go to the NEC tournament for the past 3 consecutive years. However, you haven't been able to make it over that hump of the quarterfinals. What can this team do this year to make it over that hump and establish themselves in the tournament?
Well, I think the biggest thing is obviously try to get the highest seed possible, so you have a home game. Out of those 3 years, we only had 1 home game, and we lost a very close game. So put ourselves in the best position, get a home game certainly for that first round, and sometimes a little luck is involved. I mean, we've lost in some crazy fashion in these games, but hopefully we put ourselves in a high enough seed, in a good enough position where we're playing our best basketball, we're healthy as well, going into the tournament. So it's a long journey. Basketball season is a super long season, so we're just going to try to continue to have that growth mindset and getting better and better, and hopefully we're playing our best at that time.
And the long season kicks off tomorrow night, home at the Pitt Center, as you guys are hosting Holy Cross. So what can Pioneer fans expect to see when they come watch your team play?
Well, we're excited about it's our first home opener in 13 years.
Oh, wow.
We have not opened at home and actually,
That's
since
crazy.
I've been here, this is the first time as an assistant or head coach. So we're excited. We hope the fans come out. What I think they're going to see is a group of great guys that are going to play super hard, that are going to represent our program and our university in a first-class manner. So I think we play very fast. I think we play an exciting brand of basketball. We play with a lot of toughness and a lot of character. And I think I'm very confident that this group of guys will represent our institution with a great deal of class. And I think people will have a lot of pride in watching them. So I hope everyone comes out. We're very excited about this group. I really love this group. They have really worked hard all summer, all off season. And I think we have a great group of high-character guys that are all about the team first. And I think, I believe that will translate into a successful season by the end of the year.
Well, Coach, on behalf of all of the Pioneer family, I know we're all excited to watch your guys hit the court this year. And thanks so much for taking the time to come down and give us a little bit of an insight onto what to expect for your upcoming 17-18 season.
Thank you for having me.
And after the break, we will have the women's basketball head coach and take a look into their upcoming 2017-18 season. Welcome back as we continue this special edition of the Coach's Corner as we welcome head coach Jessica Minetti of the women's basketball team. Coach, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me, Allison. It's excited to be here.
And jumping right into your team, you have lost 4 of your 5 starters from last season, but you are returning NEC All-Selection preseason Catherine Haynes to your lineup. How do you look to now integrate 4 new faces into that starting lineup with Catherine Haynes?
So it's been a challenge integrating. I actually have 6 freshmen this year.
Oh, wow.
And so we're very young. We have 9 underclassmen, and we return 5 or 6 actually upperclassmen. So Kat Haynes obviously is a really big presence in the middle of the paint. She does a great job for us. But there are some players that have been on the injured list. We have a transfer in Candace Leatherwood that is going to surprise a lot of people. So I like what I've seen so far. I'm very optimistic. I know we're young and I'm going to have to take some hits early with our inexperience, but I think we're on a great track with our talent pool to have a nice little run once we put it together.
And last season, one of your team's talents was the outside shooting. So is that something that you are going to look to keep up into this season? It played a pivotal role last year.
Yeah, we are a key or 3 team. So a lot of our shots need to come from in the paint or behind the arc. And we recruited shooters, and those shooters have to put the ball in the net. So yes, we are going to really depend on the three-point shot this year. But Kat Haynes does such a great job drawing inside presence that it really opens up a lot of things for us. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how we can put it together.
And jumping ahead a little bit into the tournament, you guys have made that tournament since 1999. It's nothing new to you. And this year in the coaches poll, the preseason coaches poll, you guys were selected 4th in making the tournament once again. So how does that expectation really factor into your team's mindset?
I'm not going to lie, we really don't think about it. It's not anything that is ever a goal for us. We are going to make the tournament. Our goal is to win the tournament. Our goal is to win the regular season, get to the NCAA championship by winning the tournament in the NEC. So I think our goals are pretty lofty. And I think that it doesn't cross our mind whether or not we're going to make the tournament. That's just a general standard of the program. And I think that has a history of excellence that I kind of inherited, and we've continued that. So I'm really proud of that. And, you know, it's not, I don't really think too much of it.
And before you jump into those conference games, you do have a pretty challenging non-conference slate on your schedule this year, starting off with Monmouth and then traveling down to Florida State. How does playing those non-conference games against these types of teams help you prepare for the always rigorous conference play?
So we balance our schedule. It's a really tricky balancing act, and we try to challenge ourselves in a lot of different ways by seeing different offenses, seeing different defenses, really being prepared for when that conference season opens. And so this year we've scheduled 6 out of our 10 games against teams who have had postseason play. I think if you continue to raise the bar and keep trying to at least compete at that level, you're going to get to that level at some point, for lack of any other option. And so we don't want to pad our non-conference and say, oh, we're going to go into conference with 10 wins. We really want to get our butts kicked sometimes.
Well, it's like when you want to run a 5K, you run 10 miles for the 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're a runner, I guess.
No, I run some, but not 10.
No. But I think that to be able to have a great balanced schedule not only helps our team, but it helps our conference. I think it's great for the NEC to be able to be on a national level as well, you know, to have some of these big spotlight games, maybe wins, translate over to our league success. So that's always important too.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for coming down. I know we're all excited to see what this season has in store for your team and for providing us some insight into what lies ahead for your girls.
Oh, thanks for having me, Allison. It's been great to be here.
But stay tuned, everyone, because after the break, we will have more Sacred Heart sports action coming your way.
Welcome back to the SHU Sports Report. Adam, we haven't talked much about football today, so why don't you get us all caught up on how they did this weekend?
All right. That's right, Gino. SHU football had quite the shootout last Saturday as they traveled to Rhode Island to face off against NEC rival Bryant. In the past, the rivalry games between Sacred Heart and Bryant tend to be quite heated, head-to-head show. This year's game did not lack that in department as both teams combined for a 93 total points and over 1,050 total yards. Quarterback Kevin Duke had a career day as he set 3 school records. He had 39 completions, 62 pass attempts, and 429 passing yards on the day. SHU had a 24-21 lead at half, and then Duke threw a 26-yard touchdown pass to Andrew O'Neill to extend the lead to 30-21. Bryant would then score 27 unanswered points, taking the lead and extending it 48-30. The Pioneers did not give up and fought back. In the fourth quarter, fifth-year running back Nate Chavius ran for 2 touchdowns, and on the last Chavius touchdown, the Pioneers converted a much-needed 2-point play, bringing the Pioneers within 3. With the game at 48-45, with a little over 6 minutes left in the game, SHU had 2 more chances to take the lead or tie the game, but did not capitalize. With the 48-45 loss to Bryant, the Pioneers fall to 3-6 overall and 1-3 in conference play. SHU looks to finish out their final 2 games on a high note as they travel to St. Francis University for a noon kickoff on Saturday.
Going from a team rounding out their season to a team whose season is just getting underway, Sacred Heart Bowling traveled to New Jersey this past weekend to participate in the FDU Jamboree. The Pioneers made quite the statement to start off their 2017-2018 season, dominating Friday and Saturday, going 10-0 and sweeping the hosted teams that participated in the event. But despite domination the first 2 days, there would still be work left to do, as the Pioneers would lose to defending NEC champions Fairleigh Dickinson University before facing them again in the championship match. In the best-of-7 matchup for the title, Sacred Heart would finish off FDU in 6, as they scored a total of 200 or above in every match but one, beating the Knights 4-2. The Pioneers would finish the weekend at 12-1, avenging their only loss to FDU, while senior Sarah Morris finished in the top 10 of all bowlers with an average score of 197.20 over 5 games. The Pioneers now look to build on their success as they travel to Wisconsin to take on some of the nation's best in the Warhawk Classic this weekend.
On that note, we will end today's show. We hope to see everyone out at the men's basketball home opener tomorrow night. And if you can't make it, be sure to head to necfrontrow.com for a free online stream of the game.
Be sure to tune in next week for more Sacred Heart sports news, highlights, and more. From all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, I'm Gino Ganello.
And I'm Adam Chambers. Thanks for watching.